Hello everyone! We're live. We're going again. Episode 4. We're back after 2 hours. They are still alive. And they have returned. They're crazy. I don't know why. They've decided to return. I don't know why I've still returned. To be fair, anybody
I don't know why people are watching it.
No, I don't know why anybody's still watching it, unless they've just done the first 10 minutes of every episode and just like, go on then.
If I'm out.
Personally...
that Rooster started talking shit again in his controversies.
He's just opening his mouth like, I'm out. I've had enough. I'm done.
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. So I had to. Anyway, so I've been watching all of these back actually, going to and from work. I think I've watched like every episode 3 times. And I've got to say, the last episode we did, the 2-hour special, is absolutely my favourite. It was so much fun to do and so much fun to listen back to.
Can I just ask something?
Yeah.
Do you have real life friends?
No.
No.
Of course I don't. I do. Of course I do. You know.
I don't believe it. I just don't like him.
Yeah. I wouldn't call them friends. They're more acquaintances that hate me and call me names.
Yeah. They put up with him because he's their DM, and that's about it. They need a DM for their D&D sessions, so they tolerate him. But...
So basically what you're saying, Rooster, is none of my friends are creative enough to do that?
Yes.
Wow.
Exactly.
I'm telling on you. I'm telling them exactly what you said about them. And you know what? They won't even care.
For themselves. I was going to say, if they're real friends, Revac, they'll already be hearing it.
Yep. Okay, yep. Very true. Very true. They're not real, they're imaginary. We've just been through this.
We have just been through this.
You know, I look at the mirror and he's my friend, I think. I'm not sure. Anyway, let's move on before it gets really creepy.
Well past that.
Yeah. Well, we're in episode 4. The creepiness has come and it's going to be getting a little bit worse if this keeps going, this whole podcast. Episode 5, we're just going to be sitting in a corner letting out little screams. But anyways, gaming related. So, as we do with every episode, I want to know what you guys have been up to in the world of gaming. Of course, we've played a little bit together over the last week. As I said in the last podcast, I was going to give Rainbow Six a try again.
That didn't go well for you.
Well, I mean, it did. It's just it's a process that I need to get back into because
you should give the new event a try. There's a new map. It's great.
Oh, okay.
That's true. That's a good topic to talk about. The road to the Invitationals. Road to SI is brought out came up with a pretty cool CGI trailer, which is probably one of the best ones they've done so far. And it's got a new map placed inside of a stadium, so it's sort of set up as if it really is a tournament. The map is modular, made up of sections of the other maps in the game, which is pretty cool. So like you've got the old school Hereford garage, but it'll like lead upstairs to the kitchen from Oregon and things like that. It's quite an interesting interesting mix of maps.
Okay. I think the thing that I struggle with getting back into that game is because everybody who plays it now is pretty much well established and they're all, you know, everybody's used to the maps and everybody's used to the weapons and they're used to their mains. I played it back when people didn't really main characters. It was more just who am I feeling at this kind of time. I don't think that ranked was a thing when I last played it, and now it seems to be moving into this competitive scene that
ranked is finally out of beta.
Yeah. as discussed in the last podcast, you know, there are people who are looking at stats, having a go at people, you know, calling them out on mistakes that they're making. That is a purely competitive scene with the likes of CSGO, of League of Legends, you know, of, I guess, Apex and Fortnite, whatever. Those kind of competitive scenes now, they seem to be getting a lot of those people who are just calling people out for being crap. And I think that's something that's not steering me in that way. There's quite a high skill ceiling with Rainbow Six.
Very much so, yeah.
And as a player who maybe wants to get into the game or has never played it before, you've really got to get through that first like 20, 30 hours of constant gameplay of just getting absolutely wrecked.
Yeah, it's just familiarizing yourself with everything, really.
Yeah, and personally, I'm not having that much fun with that. To be fair, we did play it on the weekend, but then I did play it again last night because more or less I want to play with people. I don't like playing games like multiplayer games alone because it's boring.
I don't play Siege, like I don't solo queue Siege.
No.
Anymore.
Yeah. I only play Siege with friends.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, you guys were all playing yesterday, and I thought, you know what, I want to play. And I had an okay time. I think I got like 3 kills out of the 3 matches that we played. Woohoo! Go me! But yeah, it's definitely a very high skill ceiling.
The thing is, I find Siege is one of those games as well. You'll either love it right off the bat, or you'll hate it until it finally clicks.
Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan of Siege when it first came out, and I really struggled to get kills or even just sort of navigate the map in any kind of meaningful way. But then it just kind of clicks with you one day, if you keep at it anyway.
It's the same with most multiplayer competitive games. I think it was the same with CS:GO. Until you learn the map, you don't really understand.
I remember the days of, oh my god, what is this trash?
Yeah.
This is completely garbage. What the fuck is this game?
I can't even name down the sites.
I've come full circle.
Yeah, you've gone back to that now.
But anyways, we talk about Siege quite a lot in these, so I'm gonna swiftly make a shift off of it. Although you guys have probably played it and that's what you're talking about. But what have you guys been playing this week?
I've been playing more Total War Saga Throne to Britannia again.
Ooh, okay.
So, that's a fun game. I do like that.
How's that going?
Badly. I am shit at these games.
I could never get into them. I own a couple of the
Triarii,
but I could never really get
nod
into
to anyone who's played Rome Total War and he had Triarii screamed at them 700 times every play session.
A little bit like Age of Empires, whenever you moved one of your citizens to go and get something, all you would hear is gatherer, 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 gatherer. Because of course you'd only ever play the Britons because you
Gavlar.
Gavlar. But yeah, I wasn't expecting a Total War game. To be honest, no.
Yeah, no one expects the Spanish Inquisition, mate.
No, they do not. They absolutely do not. So that's an interesting one. See, this is why you need to get into and come play Stellaris. We should have, the 3 of us should have a big multiplayer version of Stellaris going with Luke involved and stuff. That would be a lot of fun.
Awfully, I'm terrible at them.
No, we wouldn't. We'd be there to teach you. We'll hold your hand, and then when you try to break our borders, we'll just destroy you. Get out the way, Roost. I want that planet.
You'll lead me into. You'll be there, like, right. So, Roost, what you want to do is you want to take your ships. You go here, just as I hear Luke going. Who's entering my airspace? What have you done?
Oh, Rooster, do you know what's a really good idea? Going to war with that civilization over there. No. Okay, so Total War. Anything else?
Rising Storm 2, Vietnam.
Oh yeah,
we're playing that again.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, I've been playing the usual. I've been playing a lot of a set of Corsa still, but yeah, also Rising Storm.
An interesting set. A very interesting set.
Rising Storm 2 has the best gaming shotguns ever.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever actually played it.
It's a very good game. Unfortunately, the development team was the studio was bought out, and the development team were moved on to other projects. So it's not really got any long-term support anymore, but it's still going strong.
Yeah. The thing I like about Rising Storm 2, I mean, it's not something I play a lot of. I play it in drips and drabs, but there's only been maybe a handful of times where I haven't had fun. Like, just one of the most enjoyable games I find.
Yeah, it is a very enjoyable game.
like, unfortunately, there was an occasion the other day where just honestly, I think poor map design. We could have done something if our team was a little bit competent, but yeah, it was basically this push up to a flag that had 0 cover on it. You had no cover between you, like your spawn, and the objective, and it was just a massive, just basically the Vietnam equivalent of a Normandy landing.
No,
And it was
yeah,
absolute hell.
it was worse than a Normandy landing, that map, but that was an interesting experience, to say the least.
I see. So 2 very, very interesting games there. And I know that you guys have been playing a bit more of Squad as well.
Yeah, dabbled in Squad here and there.
Which, again, is not a game that I've played all too much.
I think we'd play a hell of a lot more of Squad if there was just an easier way of playing with friends. It's such a ball ache.
Yeah.
To have to find a server that is both populated but also not overly populated that you can actually fit your mates on the bloody team. But then either you get lucky and you both end up on the same team and it's really easy and you just have fun, or you spend like 10 minutes trying to swap teams, but oh no, the teams are unbalanced, you can't do that.
Because regardless of the fact that there's 30 odd people on each team, one team can't have 2 people more than the other. That would completely unbalance the server.
God, that sounds like a pre-2010
Yeah,
multiplayer
issue.
Online experience issue. Like that's
the game is still. Has it reached beta now?
Yeah, it's in beta.
Yeah, it's beta now, so it's still got like a lot of stuff to come. But I just feel like one thing that I really wish they'd just sort of get done is some kind of lobby system, or like just some kind of way to either join with friends, or at least. So Rising Storm has a similar situation where there is no lobby system. You have to just go to the server browser and pick a server. But Rising Storm has a friends filter tab. So you can select that and it'll only show you servers that your friends are in. So then all you got to do is tell one of your friends, right, find a Rising Storm server that's got enough space, join it, and then everyone else can just join that server because it'll show up in the list. Squad doesn't even have that. So you have to try and explain to your friend the exact name of the server so that he can quickly filter his search to find the same server you found, to click on it and join it himself.
Oh, that's awful.
You can use the Steam overlay to invite people, but only once you're
fully loaded, and Squad takes an age to load, and if you wait for that, you severely heighten your chances of getting in and the server filling up before you've invited any of your friends.
Yeah, that's annoying.
So it's a major ball ache just trying to play Squad with friends, but
I'm guessing that must be a priority for the dev team, because surely the community.
I actually don't think it is. No.
It's not in the slightest. Yeah, it's bottom of the barrel.
But surely the community is trying to push it.
Been as it is for about 2 years now. The game's had helicopters added. The game had no air vehicles. It's had full-blown helicopter, like flying simulation and built into the engine and piloting and stuff like that. All of that added before any kind of ease of access for joining with friends was added.
That's ridiculous.
So it's really frustrating because the game is really good. It's a really good game.
All it needs, I think, is the ability to pre-squad up. So, you can start your squad with your mates, invite everyone to a lobby, and then when the lobby leader picks a server, as long as it's not full,
just takes everyone in.
Maybe even have like a number in green or something, or in brackets showing you how many free spaces you would need for your squad. Just so it's a little bit more foolproof in a way.
Yeah,
and then it just be down to the and then just launch everybody into the same server, and then because you're pre-squadded, just throw you onto the same team. Like, I get that can unbalance the game, but I honestly don't think like 4 blokes more on one team.
Yeah, I think
it's gonna make a big difference.
The thing is, it would they fill up
in a game
fill up so quickly as well. It would throw say 4 or 5 people into one team, and momentarily it might be like, oh wow, this server's a bit unbalanced. And within 30 seconds, I can guarantee you someone else is trying to join the server. throw all of them on the next team. There you go. You're balanced again. It's just, yeah, it just makes it a struggle to play.
The scale of the game as well. Like, I mean, I can understand, say, with games like Battlefield, that, like, okay, maybe not your average sort of FPS-sized maps. They're a little bit bigger, but they're nowhere near the size of Squad. You know, I can understand there it would be an issue to have, like, 3 extra players on one team. But
in Squad, it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, Squad's maps, like... Yeah, I don't think you're unbalancing a team by having 3 or 4 extra blokes on one side for a couple of minutes while it waits for more players.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully something like that's going to be fixed soon. I mean, surely a game as popular.
So much
Honestly, it's a game I really, really enjoy.
Same.
When playing with friends, and you know, sometimes I'll hop on and I'll solo with a random squad, and it can be a lot of fun. Equally, it can be really frustrating because you get that guy that has made a squad purely so that he can pick a class, doesn't actually want a squad lead, but also doesn't pass on squad lead when somebody joins and says, yo, give me the squad lead. You clearly don't want to do it, so give it to me. But then they just don't hand it over, either because they don't know how or just
don't care.
Ignorance, frankly.
Yeah. Well, you get them.
It's much easier to play when you've got you know, you can start a squad with your friends, leave it open, because I prefer to leave our squads open anyway.
Yeah, I don't like locking down squads.
And then, you know, let the rest of the squad be randoms, but it's always helpful to have your mates in the squad, and it's just more fun. Like, everybody prefers playing with their mates than randoms.
No, of course.
I mean, it depends who your mates are, but...
Well, yeah.
Well, we've been through this, I don't have any, so... I just play with randoms constantly.
Yeah, you just gotta make do, mate.
Yeah. I've definitely got to make do with a pair of you. Regardless of how much... Regardless of how much better at games you are than I am. So, I really branched out.
Ooh,
yeah.
Fancy.
So I said
for now.
I said in the last podcast that, you know, I was done with FIFA, or not the last one, the one before. I was done with FIFA. I'm stopping it. I'm not playing Ultimate Team anymore. I want to make that, you know, a bit of clarity. I'm not going to not play FIFA because I play with friends and like career mode. I'm not going to play Ultimate Team anymore because that mode is a joke.
Yeah.
But I branched out, and you know, thanks to the Game Pass, I downloaded PES.
Branching out. He went from one football game to another football game.
To the better football game.
No, they both have very, very serious problems.
PES has realistic cloth physics. Fuck you.
Great. That's what I want out of my football game.
PES does have realistic cloth physics.
So I,
right, you know,
I played Pro Evolution Soccer because of the Become a Legend mode, which is it's a fun mode. You create your character, then you join a team, and then you know you become a better player over training. You can score a whole bunch of goals, but it's not as good as it used to be back in like 2011. So I've played it a little bit for about a week, and I'm just bored of it already. So I'm probably going to just stop playing that because it's not as exciting as FIFA. It definitely doesn't make me rage. Which
I mean, it is an improvement.
Yeah, exactly. But
it's clearly the better game then.
It's not. It's boring. It's so very boring.
The tables stay completely intact.
Do you know what really annoys me about that game?
What?
You log on to it, or you boot it up, and then you get to the main menu, and then it tries to give you like 100 different advert links to go to like Konami's website and stuff, but it does it on console.
Oh dear Lord.
Yeah. So, and when you first start the game, it asks you to do the usual stuff, read through the T's and C's, but it opens up Microsoft Edge on the Xbox for you to view it in a browser on the Xbox. What? And you have to go into them, and there's like 4 or 5 of them. You have to go into every single one of them to be able to check the box that you agree to the terms and conditions.
Oh, that's awful.
It's just horrible.
That is arsehole design.
Yeah, that is just so... Yeah. And then I got through it, and I started playing it. I was like, yeah, it's okay, but it was not worth the time to download it. So
shitty internet, mate.
no, it downloaded in about, I would say, an hour. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna play it now, and now I'm bored of it.
Yeah, Leachy's laughing, just feeling like, you know, this must be some kind of peasant joke. He's too rich to understand.
Is he out there just throwing money at people?
No, just in general, he has super high speed internet, so he just flexes whenever anyone ever mentions download speed.
Oh, so he just pulls out his dick and just flings it around and waves it in people's face.
It's tiny micro penis.
Don't do much flinging, yeah.
It ever so slightly wiggles.
Maybe vigorously shaped.
So yeah, I've been playing that. I started The Witcher 3 again.
Again, yeah.
Garbage.
It's not. It's really not. It's triggering Roost. He's just gonna full sprint round there like the Flash and just fly kick you in the face.
I feel like what up?
We're gonna go back to the terribly dubbed Japanese voices.
Oh dear Lord.
Yeah. So I've been playing The Witcher 3 again, which I never actually completed The Witcher 3 properly. I got really far into the story, and then I'm a little bit like you, Leachy. I'll play something for so long, and then I'll just drop it, and then not play it for a long time. I'm very bad at following through to the end of games, and playing The Witcher. When after watching the series, as we've alluded to a lot before, I've really enjoyed going back and just not doing the main quest line, because I'm very much a do the main quest and then do some side quests, or just do side quests to get to a certain level. I've been focusing on just exploring the map, going to all the question marks that are marked on the map, doing side quests, having a little bit more, you know, freedom of whatever I want to do, doing Witcher contracts, you know, doing the treasure hunts, and all of that together has just given me a completely different appreciation of the game. Like, there are things that I've done before when I played it first, but doing it all at a pace and not having like a certain goal to like race through the story or get all the side quests done, just doing it as I see fit and taking in the world, has been a lot more fun this time. And I'm looking forward to, you know, getting back on that game, because I've had a great time playing it. And yeah, if anybody that watches this has not played The Witcher, it's
go
on the
play it.
Yeah, go
Treat
play
yourself.
it. Treat yourself. It's on the Game Pass. The Game of the Year is on the Game Pass right now. So you can play. I'm pretty sure that includes PC Game Pass, but I'm not 100% sure at this time. But if you've got an Xbox One and you've got the Game Pass, download it and play it. I think one of the better ways to explain how it plays at the moment is more along the new Assassin's Creed games. There's a lot of elements that you probably recognise in terms of Assassin's Creed, which is not a bad thing. The new Assassin's Creed games are built very, very well. And I think, would you agree, Rooster, probably playing both franchises?
Yeah.
It's got kind of those.
I'd say that the newer Assassin's Creed, you know, when they tried to take more of an RPG approach to their game design, they definitely borrowed sort of, well, not necessarily borrowed, but like took inspiration from the way that The Witcher, as a lot of RPG games since Witcher 3 have taken sort of inspiration from The Witcher's like world building, I suppose, is a good way of putting it. Not
just that, but even its game mechanics. So it's combat, its level system, you know, all of those elements, which, you know, they're perfect for a game like that. And then, excuse me, like you said, the new Assassin's Creed series kind of takes elements of that, of the whole side questing and making sure you level up and not having to race through the story, the world being challenging. I mean, I was trying to get a quest line done in The Witcher. And of course, this is after the whole beginning when you're just kind of wandering around doing whatever you want. And there was a griffin above me, and I was like, "Oh yes, look, another griffin! I didn't think I'd see another one this early in the game." So it came kind of swooped down to come and attack me. I got off of Roach, told him to do one, and I started fighting this thing, not realizing there was a red skull above it, and there was question marks. at the level, so I obviously had no idea what I was getting myself into. And I was fighting it quite well. I was like, okay, he's not taking too much damage, but it's the Griffin. Like, I'll just, I'll whittle it down a little bit. I got one shot.
Yeah.
100 to 0.
That will happen.
Big mistakes were made.
You made bad decisions that day.
Yes, I did. Very bad decisions. But I think that's, stuff like that's what makes The Witcher great. You can stumble across so many things without realising, and then you can either get absolutely destroyed.
The idle conversations that you hear NPCs have, particularly the children in the world, are just priceless.
Yeah.
So, paraphrasing, because I can't remember the actual conversation, but there is at one point you can overhear a bunch of kids just like talking to each other, and they talk. One asks the other one what a whore is, and all they can reply is, because I've heard whores do what mum won't. So they start discussing how well, my mum really hates doing the laundry. Is that where all the men go? They're going to get their laundry done. And how the one kid mentions how one of them must be real good because his dad says she's the filthiest whore in town. So she must do the really nasty laundry. And it's just absolutely priceless. They absolutely nailed the dialogue of kids talking about something they don't understand.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious.
See, whenever I'm wandering around, when the kids are talking, so there are, I think, definitely the best kind of like NPC conversations are from the children in that game. I think the adults, they annoy me a little bit because they're overly stupid for no good reason. Do you kind of understand what I mean? When they're conversing.
Yeah, I think I get you there. Yeah. It's just,
I get it that it's a period of time where people were unable to read and everything like that, but it's just like the conversations they have, they seem to be very oblivious of very obvious things. I can't really give an example, but it's like one of those little things that just kind of annoy me at the back of my head. It's just like, what? Okay. It's just, for me, that's one of the bits that seems a little unrealistic, but I'm talking about a game where you kill mythical creatures. So...
yeah, it's talking about things not being realistic in a game that's
exactly. you play a mutant with cat eyes, like, and my biggest problem is NPCs conversing with each other, not making sense. Yeah, okay. But
true.
Anyway, Leechy, what have you been up to this week? What have you been playing? Anything else other than Assetto Corsa?
Not really, to be honest.
Just more of. I saw Luke had put, because of course Luke had recently bought Assetto Corsa himself.
Yeah.
And seeing a lot of screenshots from the chat channel, and the game actually looks really, really good and really, really beautiful.
Oh yeah, those screenshots I put in.
Yes, sorry, it was you. Yeah. But I was intrigued by the look of the game.
Yeah, I was doing a 2-hour, I think it was, endurance race.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that was the 4-hour one I did. I'm not sure. But the sun started to set because it was so late. Obviously, it's got real time progression. So it started at like 8 in the evening, I think. But then, as time progressed, the sun went down and it turned to night. I didn't actually get any night shots. But yeah, there were a couple in there. I was using Nvidia's screenshot tool.
Yeah.
So instead of using like Steam's F12 or whatever, because that's poo, frankly, it literally just screen caps whatever's on screen at the time. Yeah, the Nvidia one lets you upscale the resolution and stuff.
Okay, that's not bad. Yeah.
Because that's why I uploaded them to Flickr and Reddit, I think, before sharing them in Discord, because the files were all like 10 meg each, and the Discord was screaming at me. Your files are too powerful.
Nani?
Yeah, nani.
Yeah, this I keep whenever I'm doing screenshots. So my profile picture, which has changed since the last podcast that we did, that's a screenshot that I snapped, and originally the whole frame of it, yeah, Discord wasn't a fan. It did not like the file size at all. Because I play on a 4K monitor, so of course my resolution is a lot higher than your box standard 1920. So yeah, Discord does not like anything over 1920. It does not like it at all.
Not in the slightest.
No, so I understand kind of where you're coming from, especially with these high resolution photos as well, because yeah, unless you become a Nitro user or you spend more money, which I get it.
Yeah,
it makes sense, but I'm not 100% sure of the benefits. It's something I would have to look into to even think about being a Discord Nitro user. But
yeah, no, just they're not great.
Yeah, so you know, it's one of them. Okay, so a couple of things then from me, which I definitely want to talk about, which may not interest the both of you and may not interest most of the viewers, but me, I'm a big Dragon Ball fan. I'm a big Dragon Ball fan. I have been for a long time. And this Friday, so in 2 days, they're releasing Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, which is basically the story of Dragon Ball Z, but it's got more of an RPG element to it. So a lot of the games that they've produced in the past, like they're just more or less kind of side view fighters or these kind of 3D fighters, but you can only go to certain points within the story or certain locations, like Xenoverse, for example. You've got like a big area to walk around in, but that's it. And then you go into a match or something, or you go into part of the story and it will put you into that location. Whereas this game is a full RPG piece. So you'll play one of the main characters during that part of the story. You can fly around the entire world. I don't know how big these worlds are, but they're kind of enclosed spaces for that location of the story, and apparently they're quite fast. But it's also including loads of side quests that you can do as well, and like really deep Dragon Ball lore and stuff that is from the original Dragon Ball manga and the Dragon Ball series to what then became Dragon Ball Z, and going on from there. And I think it's going all the way up to their newest series, which was Super.
No, yeah.
And yeah, I'm really excited for that. I've had Xenoverse 2, however you want to pronounce it, Dragon Ball Fighters or Fighter Z, doesn't matter. I've had those three, but I think Xenoverse 2 was my favourite because there was more that you could do outside of just fighting all the time. And there was a little bit more of like a kind of a story, but I'm looking forward to being able to relive Z for everything that it was, because like I said, I loved it, but from the perspective of those characters with a little bit more. And it's going to be fully canonical as well, so everything in there will be canon to the actual story of Dragon Ball. Which for any Dragon Ball fan, yeah, it's kind of a big deal. But there's not a lot of Dragon Ball fans out there, of course. Anybody in?
Yeah, I've never been a huge fan of it.
No, not a lot of people have, for good reason. It's not perfect in any way, shape, or form. The narrative and the storytelling of it is not all that great. It kind of went ridiculously overpowered very quickly, and yeah, it's understandable why it's not so much loved by the community, but I think for a lot of people that's where anime started in the kind of Western world.
Yeah.
And that, I could be completely wrong, but you know, that kind of sparked people's interest in different kind of animes. And then of course Naruto came out and a lot of people were loving Naruto. I've never watched it. One Piece, that's, you know, been marked as one of the greatest animes of all time.
Never got into One Piece.
No, me neither. I don't want to get into it.
Whenever I hear One Piece, I just think like bathing suit. Never really understood the name.
That's because you don't watch TV.
That's true.
Like,
I watch good TV, like Breaking Bad.
Yeah, when it's all done and dusted and you can binge it.
I like binge it,
Yeah. But One Piece, Naruto, all of those kind of shows, even Dragon Ball now, it's very difficult to get in from the start because there are so many episodes to all three of those series. It's ridiculous. Whereas some of the other ones, some of the new starting ones, like, for example, Seven Deadly Sins.
Ah, yes.
I loved Seven Deadly Sins.
That's a great one.
It was really, really good. I wasn't expecting it to be. I watched the first, like, couple of episodes and I was a little bit on the fence. I was thinking, yeah, it's all right, but it's not great.
Not quite Carlin.
Yeah. And then as the show progressed even further and further, it just, it became better and better and better, and I love that show. And it's really easy to get into. If anybody's thinking of getting into anime, I wouldn't go for one of the massive mainstream ones. I think focus on some.
I feel like a very good place to start for something like anime would be oh, now I can't remember the name of it. Oh, that's gonna bug me now.
Death Note.
No, Death Note is a very good one.
Mangas
But oh, it's like the Afterlife bar that they go to. Now it's gonna really bug me that I can't think of the name.
You're gonna have to search.
Where's the weeb when we need him?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying. That's what I'm trying to think of what to search for and how I'm gonna do it. Like,
I'm not too sure.
no.
Me myself, although I've been a big Dragon Ball fan for years, I've not been an anime fan for years. It wasn't really until I started watching. What did I first watch? Gurren Lagann. It wasn't until I started watching that really I started to enjoy anime. And then I watched Death Note. For me, Death Note is probably the best anime.
Death Note is an incredible anime, to be fair.
If anybody's going to get into anime or they want to give an anime show a try, Death Note is, in my opinion, one of the best places to start. The narrative and the storytelling is incredible. It is so good, and they're
There you go. So finish. I found the name of it, so you can continue and I'll mention it afterwards.
The animation itself in Death Note is really, really good as well, and the characters are very interesting, and that is, for me, that is definitely a fantastic place to start, because it's a complete battle of wits between the main character and the person who's trying to bring the main character down, and there's so many points in it where they know who each other are, but they're trying to beat each other in this long game of, it's effectively chess, and it's the way that it's told is just so well done. I would definitely suggest getting into that. What is it, Roost? Go on, because it's
Death
bugging me.
Parade.
Ah, okay. It's not
Death
one that I've
Parade
watched.
is it's a short anime. There's only a few episodes. So it's a good sort of entry. You're not, being tied into 345 episodes kind of thing.
God, that's a short anime.
But yeah, but this is like 10 to 12 episodes.
Yeah.
It's just a single series, like a one hit. But it is a very good entry anime, I would say.
Okay. Yeah. I tell you what, another good one as well, which would be kind of entry. Maybe not, but Full Metal Alchemist.
I've given Full Metal Alchemist a go a few times. Never quite managed to get into it myself.
Did you try and watch the original Full Metal Alchemist, or did you watch Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood?
I think the original.
So they tell they start in the same place but tell two different stories. So Brotherhood is more focused on actually how the manga played out, whereas the original Full Metal Alchemist back in I think it was 2003, that was being done before the manga had finished, I believe. So
right.
The story kind of drifted off into a different place. But I watched both of them recently. I think it was back in September last year. I watched both of them the whole way through, and at first I watched the original, which I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed the characters, and then I watched Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and it was the first like 10 episodes are a complete retelling of what I'd already seen before, so I was getting bored. And then I realised there was this big switch up of the narrative and how it was playing out, and then after doing research I realised that actually that was closer to the manga and how the manga was released and the story in that, and it was a lot better in that kind of long run. It's a very interesting story, and there are some moments in there that are joked about in the kind of anime communities, and I really enjoyed it. But yeah, we started with gaming and now we've just held off. That's all my fault. I'm sorry. But yes, from the original point, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. If you are a Dragon Ball fan, you should know this game's coming out Friday, the 17th of January. I cannot wait for that game. I'm most probably going to do a like a review of it with a bit of gameplay for this channel. So have a look, see what you think, that kind of thing. But I'm going to stop, advertising what else is coming up and carry on. Is there anything else you guys particularly
just to stay on the same theme quickly, just before we move on, there is also a very similar Fairy Tail game in the works coming out soon as well. So for anyone who's a Fairy Tail fan more than a Dragon Ball fan, might want to keep an eye out for the Fairy Tail game that's coming out. Very much similar thing, like a sort of RPG-ish world where you take control of the key sort of cast of Fairy Tail. So.
Yeah, sounds quite similar to DBZ.
Yeah. So I throw that in for the Fairy Tail fans out there.
There you go. With all the 15 views that we get.
Yep.
Of which 10 are me.
10 of you, yeah.
Driving to and from work. Leechy, anything, anything at all? Are you excited for anything that's coming out?
Nah, not really at the moment.
No.
I know my brother is super hyped for Doom and Cyberpunk, but I'm just kind of like, yeah, whatever. I'll try them when they come out, but I'm not really...
What's your take on Cyberpunk?
Honestly, I've stayed away from the hype. I haven't really paid much attention to it at all.
Yeah, me neither.
I'm not really...
My take on Cyberpunk at the moment is it's a game of potential, not a game that I'm currently prepared to say is going to be good. It has the potential to be an incredibly good game, but it also has the ability to completely flop.
It has the potential to be fucking genre defined, but...
Yeah. And so it's a game I'm keeping an eye on while not necessarily getting my hopes too high.
Yeah, in this day and age, I think it's a shame that we're at this point, but I think a lot more people are at this point just in general, with a lot of the disappointments that people have really kind of faced over the last 5 to 10 years. I mean, a prime example, which we have mentioned in previous podcasts, Fallout 4. That game was hyped to be incredible and just a genre-defining game, and it didn't really meet that hype.
Yeah.
Because it was, for me, it's a good game, but when you're comparing it to the likes of the Elder Scrolls and Skyrim and so on, I think it lacked quite a bit, and it was quite underwhelming for, how it was portrayed. That's me personally. That's my personal opinion. But Fallout 76, oh my god, what a train wreck that was.
I don't know of the existence of such a game. I have blocked the game. Nah, that is primarily a terribly marketed game that has issues. Gameplay-wise, it isn't awful. How they marketed it was bad. Some of the key issues that it has are bad.
I struggled with Fallout 76. I really did.
Yeah, it's not a fantastic game, but it could have very easily been a lot better.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
yeah,
it was the same kind of thing that we discussed before about Elder Scrolls Online. This was marketed as Fallout with your friends. Of course, this was closer to Fallout with your friends than what Elder Scrolls Online was originally. Kind of like people were hyping and getting it in their heads that was it. What was it? That was what it was going to be. Whereas this game, it just
that is what that was to be, and
it is what it was, but I think people were expecting more of a narrative steer.
yeah, it hit something. It sure as hell wasn't the mark, but
Yeah,
it hit something.
and I mean, there's still a lot of concurrent players that play it regularly.
Trouble is, I think it's difficult to push a proper narrative without decent cutscenes and, at the very least, proper NPCs with character.
Yeah, not just the random robot that is a mission giver. And
yeah, I think it was I understood their logic, but I think it was a bad decision when they turned around and said they didn't want to have any human NPCs because they wanted it to be that if you saw a human, you knew it was a player.
Yeah.
Now, I understand the logic, but it was a bad choice.
I kind of get it as well, because the whole game was marketed as you are the first vault dwellers to ever leave their vault.
Yeah. So it made sense.
Yeah.
But
then the whole point of the main quest line was to find the Overseer. Meaning that people would have left the vault before you. And most probably started. Yeah. It's just a bit of a strange one. And for how it was being marketed, I think that gained quite a lot of hype and momentum with its hype, and it was a big disappointment for a lot of fans, I think. Like I said, there are still players who play it, but it didn't really grasp what I think it was trying to achieve, which is a shame. I'm glad it was a Fallout game and not an Elder Scrolls game that did that, because I would have been bitterly disappointed.
Oh yeah,
but
I definitely feel like Fallout is their let's try something that people may hate franchise compared to the Elder Scrolls, which is funny because when you've got a Bethesda fan, you tend to find they're most like both, but there's always someone who prefers the other.
Yeah,
always someone who prefers Elder Scrolls or they prefer Fallout.
I think there's more people in the Elder Scrolls camp, personally.
I feel it seems that way. I
guess we'll never know until we get thousands and thousands of people watching this, which will never happen, and start doing votes and stuff. Actually, there is one more thing that I wanted to talk about.
Yes.
Before we end it, does anybody else have anything before I start?
No, I'm good for this week.
No?
Yeah, I'm Gucci.
Well, as with every single episode so far, it wouldn't be an episode if I didn't mention Star Citizen.
Oh, yeah.
Here it comes.
Here it comes. So, we are now on patch 8.0. PTU, so the Persistent Test Universe, has now been released. I don't know if they've dropped it down now, but 8.1 is being released. Now, what 8.1 should be doing is it's basically fixing a lot of bugs, because the game state right now is a mess. It is not in a good place, which I think quite a fair few people were expecting. So this was the first introduction of the server-side object container streaming, shortly named SOCS. SOCS, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was its first kind of iteration into the game, and it, of course, broke quite a few things, which people were expecting, but probably not on this sort of scale. But there are some really big game-breaking bugs currently in that game. For example, sometimes weapons don't shoot. With an FPS sort of environment, the one thing you want is your weapon to shoot.
Yeah.
You pull the trigger, you want the bullets to fly out. So that is a big problem. But they're bringing some interesting things into this new patch. So there's a leak that's come out. For anybody that doesn't want to know the leak, then please stop now. I'm part of a Discord channel which is called Star Citizen Leaks. It's on screen. It's actually here. I'll drop that link in the description below. But in there, it's basically giving information about some gameplay pieces that are coming. One of which is the first stage of medical gameplay. So effectively, in the game right now, if you die, you wake up in the last place that you landed, one of the main starports. Now, you can set a medical bay bed to be your respawn point. If that ship is still alive in the game, in the server, sorry.
That is game changing.
Yeah. I'm not sure where they are yet in terms of persistence. I need to have a look at that. I know that they're looking to push out the Cutlass Red, which is basically a ambulance. So bringing in this, the Cutlass Red with this medical gameplay piece, that's going to be really important for people who want to do different events and, want to get all their friends together and just have like a gunfight. Apparently they fixed the gun issues in 8.1. I'm hoping they have.
Yeah, I was going to say, so they say, but
yeah,
we'll see.
You never know. And then, there's some interesting things that are now coming through. And I think this staggered development that I've mentioned many times before, they're finally moving in a really good place in terms of their development cycle, and more important content are coming out. Cutlass Red, next month is going to be the Carrick. Oh yes, give me the Carrick.
Get happy, it's finally coming.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I mean, until we find out next week that they're postponing it again.
Yeah, I'll just
definitely.
The whole hour of next week will just be me going, I've had enough. I'm going to go full FIFA mode on them. I'm done.
Oh,
I'm done.
She's going to abandon the game. They'll go bankrupt because you're not funding them single-handedly anymore.
So that's there's some interesting things that are coming, and I can't wait for March when they release the next patch 3.9, because they're gonna. I'm pretty sure it's that patch. I need to definitely double check this, but they're bringing a banking app into the game.
What?
So effectively, you can. I don't know yet. I really hope so, but you can have player-to-player transactions.
So you can send friends money.
Yeah.
It'll be a lot easier for getting newer friends.
Which is
the game.
so important.
Can I buy a crypto key and hack someone's account?
No.
That would be awful.
that would be
a horrible mechanic.
But yeah, they're also they're doing that player-to-player transactions, which is massive. I mean, the whole game is, revolved around playing with people. The smaller ships that only host one person are usually small fighters, but the larger ships, like the Argo Mole, which is their multiplayer mining ship that they've done, only the owner is going to get the benefit of all of that unless they pay the people as well. But to do it in the system at the moment, you've got to basically create a player mission for somebody, whether or not that's taking you to a location or taking you to certain points and then giving them that way. That's a workaround. That's not a fix. So having player-to-player transactions, you could be in Port Olazar, which was the main kind of starting area. Just type in all chat or talk to people around you, other players, and say, look, do you guys want to go mining? From whatever we get back, I'll pay you 20%. And then it's a simple transaction after the fact. It's
nice.
Those kind of gameplay pieces that game needs desperately.
Yeah.
And then from there, you can then look at bringing all the other elements that they're trying to do. Like, you're going to need, in the future, you're going to need engineers. You're going to need spare parts. These larger ships, like the power plant, may break after being in a fight. so you need your engineer to replace that module, or else you can't move. It's those kind of things that are coming in the future, but we need to, as a game, like a player base, we need to have stuff like player-to-player transactions to make that a reality and to make that a better experience. You don't want to, waste time with other people that really you're at risk of them not paying you, or you don't get anything out of it, or it's not worth it. So that is a really important piece that they're bringing in. And at the moment, the current meta is trading. So you can get in a ship, land the ship at a location, go to the trading terminal, buy all the stock, and then straight away, bang, all the stock is in that ship. Of course, that's how it is at the moment, but that's not exactly realistic. I think it's 3.9 or 4.0. They're bringing in timers, which effectively you won't see them, but the game is loading that stock as if somebody was properly loading it into a ship. Eventually, I think they're moving into a point where you, as the player, have to do that yourself. So you can buy the stock, but it will be in a location that you have to manually, pick it up and put it into your ship, or hire people to do it.
Yeah.
So it's those kind of elements that they're getting to.
That's where things are starting to get interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, where the game is right now, it's moving in the direction it needs to be. Absolutely, and this time, in a year's time, it will be completely different. It's just getting to that point. And I understand a lot of people have been bashing on it, and I understand where they're kind of coming from, but I think people need to realize that if you take something like Red Dead Redemption, for example, Red Dead 2, that was an 8-year development.
Yeah.
With 3 times the budget of Star Citizen. And I can personally say, I know I said that Red Dead 2 was the best game of the decade, because it was, without a doubt. But Star Citizen is trying to achieve a lot more than what Red Dead 2 was.
Yes.
So, and whilst all of that is going on, Rockstar are still an established company, whereas CIG was built for Star Citizen. They built the company as they slowly developed the game. When you take all those factors into consideration, you can kind of understand why they're at this point.
Yeah.
Because they're having to build everything from the ground up. Plus, Crytek are trying to sue them every 5 seconds because they went completely bankrupt. Issues. Yeah, they've gone completely bankrupt, more or less. They sold off their engine to Amazon, in which Amazon have created the Lumberyard engine, in which CIG moved Star Citizen into the Lumberyard engine, although Crytek are saying they haven't.
Yeah, because Crytek are being super fucking shady.
Yep. And Crytek are saying that they haven't, CIG haven't moved the game into the Lumberyard function, although Lumberyard is basically the same as what the original engine was, but they're trying to sue them on the grounds that they're building 2 games, Star Citizen and Squadron 42, although they only had a license for 1 game, which, okay, but right now in court, Crytek, or at least the Crytek lawyers, are trying to dismiss their own case because it's not ripened yet, meaning Squadron 42 has not been released, so there's no case. But they want to dismiss it with the option to return to court at a later date, which of course CIG are saying no. If you want to dismiss this case,
you've brought this up now. We'll deal with it now.
It's either we deal with it now, or you completely dismiss the case on the grounds that we will not return to court. There's more information on what's going on with that. If anybody here and listening to us knows of like Board Gamer and other YouTubers that kind of play Star Citizen, give Star Citizen news, they've done a little little bits of content over the last month about this court case and all the information. So I would advise going to their channels, having a look at them. For example, I'll put Board Gamer down in the description below, so you can get a little bit more info. But that's my general Star Citizen update. I'm sure next week, hopefully 8.1 will be in its PTU phase, and I can tell you all about everything that's crashing.
Yep.
So
I'm sure you'll have more information for us next week.
Of course. Right, guys. I think that's a good place to end it.
Yeah.
Unless you guys have got anything else.
Nope.
Well, brilliant. For anybody who has got this far, you may notice that I've kind of changed the name a little bit in the podcast. So it's T.W.E.T. The name of the podcast is still Two Welshmen and an Englishman walk into a tavern, but that's quite wordy. It's quite a lengthy title, so just kind of shortened it down so I can put more information in the title of what we're actually talking about, and give you an episode number. So yeah, there you go. Right, guys. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. We're going to stop here for now, and I'll see if I can nab these guys again next week. See what they're doing.
Toodles.
Ta-da.